Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the spot where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Welcome home, Brains. There's only one requirement to hang out on the edge, is that you open your big brain and close your small mind. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts now. Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. You're at home, your favorite spot, the best podcast on the planet. This is the place where the conversations are pointed, the guests are sharp. There she is, and the responses are never dull. Today we have Myrna Love. Let me tell you what she said. She says that she helps single women, wives, and moms to become amazing women of God, double their income in 3 to 6 months, transform their careers to be more of a blessing to their loved ones. And now she's going to give us the exact steps, because that is a blueprint for success. We talking about God and family and love, and the residual of that is money. So let's welcome her on the edge. How are you, Myrna?
I'm wonderful. I'm blessed and highly favored and happy to be here.
My goodness, I'm telling you, I got chills when you said all of that. I'm going to touch the screen so you can rub some of that off on me. I'm looking forward to it. Yes. So tell my brains how you show up in the world and a little bit about you.
I, again, am Myrna Love. I show up in the world just as an ordinary person, just striving to fulfill my God-given purpose. I am a servant at heart, and I want to see people do well. And my focus is women, because we have so many obligations, and we take care of others more than we take care of ourselves sometimes. So I'm passionate about guiding women in particular in how to maneuver through that space as we fulfill our obligations.
That's coloring in a lot of the white spaces, because you said occasionally we take care of people more than we should all the time, and reduce and minimize the self-care and also the girlfriend care. I want to talk to you about that. Friendships. I tell you, I'm a loyalist. You know, when I'm your friend, I'm like a Labrador. I'm there for you. But when you betray me, I'm like a Rottweiler. Okay. And friendships are so important because they're a choice.
That's right.
You can't pick your family. You can't pick your mama and your daddy, but you can choose the people that have a front row seat in your life. And they have a lot of influence, because that's that person that's always talking. That's the person that you go to consult when you have a problem. After you go to Jesus, you go to your friend. Sometimes you go to your friend before you go to Jesus. What is it about women and women's relationships sometimes that are so just so contentious and just so hard to gel? Because we need that for women to support each other. We're not a one-legged stool.
That's right. And I think the issue there is insecurity, a lack of confidence in oneself. And those two attributes alone it's almost like it contaminates the person. That
insecurity is jealousy. It's I don't know, but it's a lot of work that they put into it instead of just loving. It's so easy to love somebody. What's on my plate is not what you're gonna eat. That's for me. That's for me to get full. So now you work in this container of women, and I know that you see a lot of back and forth, but you see a lot of good. How do we continue to love one another and pour the good into our relationships? Like I met you, you met me, you support me, I support you. We want to see each other win. Like you said, you want to support people. How do we do that as women?
Take out the attribute of competition. There is enough for us all. When we remove the competition, the playing field is level. Then we're just left to support one another. We all have different gifts. We all have different talents. And the combination of those, I mean, the spread is enough for us not to go back to that insecurity. The spread is just enough that you don't have to compete. The only person you should compete with is yourself.
Right. Absolutely right. Because you don't know what that other person is going through. And don't take the time to pause and add love to it. It's ridiculous. So now
Yeah.
let's talk about some other fun stuff. You said you can make people increase their income in 3 to 6 months. I know that's with a side hustle. How did you get into that? And what is it? What is your secret recipe for success?
So I can't make them make the money, okay? I
Right.
can point them to the resources
Okay.
that can do that. So I got into the entrepreneurial field as a result of having been laid off in corporate America for 3 times.
Wow. I know.
And at that point, I said, nobody, no corporation or nobody else is going to have my destiny or my ability to make money in their hands any longer. So I had to do something. I had to add to it. And so I got an interest in the real estate space. The investing side. So I started out, I invested in myself, got the education as it relates to investing in properties. So I started out as a landlord, a traditional landlord, just purchasing homes in different manners, not the traditional way, there were different avenues to purchasing homes, and just becoming a traditional landlord. After experiencing that, I was like, "Ooh, this is exhausting. I don't want nobody calling me about no toilet
What I was
flooding."
getting ready to say. You know what? And people do it all the time. My husband would be enamored with the people that would flip the houses. I said, baby, we're gonna go in, we're gonna fix it up, and then we're gonna flip it and sell it. I don't want to be a landlord. And here in California, you in North Carolina, girl, they got the rent control, and the tenants have more control than the landlord. And then COVID, oh well, hell, just don't pay your rent. You ain't got to pay your rent. And now the moratorium is over. Well, the bank is still looking at me sideways because they want their money.
That's right.
The cold piece is when you are a landlord and you can't go up on it. And in California, because it's so tight and so compact, you have to give the tenant 2 months of their rent. If you ask them to leave, you have to support them with 2 months worth of rent before they can move. Oh yeah, it's the law.
What?
It's the law. Yes, you got to give them 2 months worth of rent. I don't want. I got a couple pieces of property, but that's for family. And if anything happened to them or they move whatever, it's going on the market. I can't be bothered with that. So I understand what you're saying, but real estate is such a powerful tool because they're not going to make no more land.
They can't. That's right. That's right. That's
So
right.
how did you figure out, what to do and to make money and to sleep at night?
So I pivoted during, like you said, during the pandemic. I looked for other strategies. So I pivoted and I went to short-term rentals, Airbnb space. Um, so yeah, and I went to the rental arbitrage aspect of it rather than owning the property. So that takes a lot of responsibility off of you as it relates to the maintenance of the property itself, the expense of maintaining the property. And if you're listing on Airbnb, then there is some protection for you if some of the guests don't do what they need to do as it relates to paying, because Airbnb has already done some background work and they can go through the process of getting the guests out of the home if there's issues.
Right. I heard they put like, I don't know for all of them, but they have up to $1 million worth of insurance.
3 million now.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Now back to something that you said. You are not the property owner. Are you like, for the lack of a better term, the property manager? Are you the
I
person
am
in between the owner and the person that's going to do the Airbnb rental?
I'm only using the owner's property for my business. So the owner is not involved in the business at all. He's only allowing me to rent his property for this particular strategy.
Really?
So it's a win-win situation. He's going to get his rent from me, and I get the guests and make money off of the guests booking the properties.
Well, that's innovative. We're going to have a sidebar conversation after that. I mean, after this to really kind of get the nuts and bolts of that, because that's I don't know. I got to hear a little bit more about it, but it makes sense. But you are the person that finds the person for the Airbnb for the rental, and you deal with that person directly.
That's correct.
But you could be under a 1 year, 2 year lease with the actual owner of the property.
That is correct.
In a way, it's kind of a sublease kind of thing.
You can view it from a sublease, but we're not. If your guests are coming through the Airbnb platform, you're not signing a lease. There's no lease involved. So the
process put the squeeze on us here in California on that too. They limited the Airbnbs. You can't.
I heard about that.
I'm telling you, they just don't want us to live here in California. We got an extra tax. They're trying to get a mileage tax. Mileage a tax for us driving on the road. They don't want us to live here. They just don't want us to live here. I'm moving down there to North Carolina with you.
Come on.
Okay. So now you got this. And so are you teaching other individuals this, or are you giving them a bunch of options and choices when they're looking for additional revenue streams?
I'm just giving them options and choices. However, I am considering going into the teaching mode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because this is something that would need some education. You couldn't just go into this willy-nilly, and you also have to have the right owners that would support you in this.
Absolutely.
You have to let them know what's going on.
Yes, you have to have that agreement from them to allow you to use the property for short and midterm rentals.
So you were a woman of deep faith.
Yes.
You walk by faith and not by sight. Did God lead you in this direction?
It had to be him. I mean, he had to plant the seed in my spirit for it to even germinate with me, to resonate with me. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm certain that he planted the seed of entrepreneurship in my spirit, because nobody in my family has ever been an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. Not until my generation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mine have been entrepreneurs, but they called it a different name. They called it hustlers. But there's nothing wrong with that. You've got to be able to have multiple revenue streams. And if you look at millionaires, they don't do just one thing.
No, they don't.
And they pay their taxes. People think they have these little side hustles. Will pay me through PayPal or Venmo or, Cash App. They have to report that to the IRS.
Yes.
And so if you're on the up and up, you're going to win. But if you're not on the up and up, it's just a point and a click, and they're going to take everything from you.
Everything from you.
Everything.
And all you got to do is solve people's problems. You solve people's problems, you're going to make some money.
But you got to show up and do the work.
You got
to figure out partner with them. Right. You got to partner with them, and you got to give good customer service.
Got to give good customer service. Got to be a person of integrity.
Yes. And you
got to show them that you care.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. If things don't work out, provide them with options and choices, even if that's giving them their money back. Mm-hmm. If it's not good money, it's not going to benefit you.
That's right.
They're going to stranglehold you and take you to small claims court for $500. Really? It's going to cost you $5,000 in heartache.
That's right.
You have to be right. You have to be right. Now, you were formerly in the financial services industry.
I'm still in the financial services industry.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So I'm a North Carolina State licensed life insurance agent. It is not our goal to sell, we educate. I'm attached to a partnership who our motto is no family left behind. And we just want to educate people because people don't understand the importance of not only having life insurance, but also having a retirement outside of your 9 to 5.
Well, see, this is the new business strategy, brains. Newsflash, okay? This is a different vehicle. This is what the rich and the people in Congress do. They offset it. I done did my homework now. They offset into an insurance policy because you can get liquidity. That means liquid. That means you can get your money off of it. Now you have to decide on if you're going to do a whole life policy, which is the most beneficial. And I can, give you Myrna's information. She can give you all the details, but it is a very viable option and it's very, very popular these days. But you got to, again, know what you're doing and what is your risk tolerance. How much are you going to take? I was looking at a certain vehicle in insurance where long-term care, I'm of a particular age. Long-term care for me and my husband over 60 is expensive.
Mhm.
But there are other vehicles that you might want to look at. And the book, The Power of Zero, is magic.
Come on.
Okay. The Power of Zero. Where is it at? I think it's right here on my desk somewhere. I don't know, but it is definitely giving you the tips and the tricks of what to do, what to ask for, and how to position yourself in this market. We work our tails off, Myrna. Especially, I'm talking to you Black folks right now. You got a little
Yes, ma'am.
property down there in North Carolina. You got some land. You got some generational wealth, and you don't have a living will and trust. A will not do it. You got to have a living will and trust. And now I just went to another seminar the other day, and there's 12 things missing from my living will and trust that need to be incorporated. The verbiage, so that your in-laws don't get it, so that you also have a medical and a mental power of attorney. There's a lot of trickery going on right there. We done told you from the beginning of this interview, they really don't want us to win. So you got to be on top of it. And insurance is the way to go. So when you're looking for an insurance product or an agent, what are 3 things to gauge their level of integrity?
You want somebody that's going to do what's best for you. You don't want somebody that's just trying to sell a product so they can get a commission. You want somebody, brains, you want somebody whose interest is your best interest. There is no one size that fits all. If they're not passionate about fulfilling what is best for you and your family, don't deal with them, first and foremost. If they're not passionate about assisting you, don't deal with them. If they're more concerned about pushing something on you, don't deal with them.
Exactly. And looking at the total picture, know what your profile is. Don't put all your eggs in somebody else's basket.
That's right.
Like I did. I can have a conversation with Myrna right now, and she knows that I know my stuff.
That's
I know
right.
what I want. I'm looking to you for your expertise. This is a marriage. That's with a financial planner, your insurance, your doctor, your spouse.
Yes.
You have to go in and you have to know who you're dealing with, and you have to question them. And if you're not sure, question them again, or go to another source and come back with some other questions. It's very important that we know what we're doing. You have had all this experience, with generating additional income, insurance, the financial market, but you also had time to write a book. Tell me about that book.
This book here, I partnered with other ladies. I think it was about 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 19 of us.
Wow, a beautiful anthology.
An anthology. This is a powerful testament of the resilience. And the name of it is The Image in the Mirror, the reflection that inspired the courage to live limitlessly.
Mm, mm, mm. The only limits we put is the ones we put on ourselves.
That's exactly right. Self-limiting.
And so what was your contribution? I want you to read us an excerpt so we can get excited, get motivated.
My contribution, first of all, this was the hardest thing that I did up to this point, write about my story. It was because it caused me to have to go to places I did not desire to go. And my title is Keeping It 100, my marriage story. That's all I knew to write about. At the point that we wrote the book, I was 33 years in.
I know. I'm 39 years in. I told him yesterday, I said, I got to get in control of myself. He said, why? I said, because I'm sprung. I'm in love with you. I got to pull back on some of that. He said, no, girl, go on. Give me full throttle. Take it all the way. But 33 years, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I was a baby. I considered myself a baby. I don't know how old. I think I was 20, early 20s, whatever it was. I can't even remember the age. But I'm going to read an excerpt from it. Okay. And I labeled so many, but I think this part right here will resonate with so many women, whether they are married or not, because as we talked about, we do so many things, we take care of so many others all the time that we have the tendency to neglect ourselves. Not that I was neglecting myself, but I just want to read this part right here. And it's under the subtopic of family life. And it goes like this. From the beginning of our union, I have managed the household. In addition to preparing meals and regularly cleaning the house, I also manage the finances, pay the bills, and make final decisions on important areas such as life and vehicle insurance coverage. I have made several attempts to transition the responsibility. I have solicited participation. Neither has occurred at this writing. And guess what? It still hasn't happened. Being the determined person I am, I moved forward with pursuing to improve Myrna and seek my purpose. I proceeded in pursuit of growth opportunities, educationally, spiritually, career, physical, etc. Hubby never attempted to interfere with any of my endeavors. He probably, even to this very day, says to himself, she always doing something. On the flip side, although I have invited him, he has never been interested in getting involved in my pursuits. My pursuits have all been focused on building a legacy for our family. Yes, to provide insight into my improvement journey, I pursued and gained in 2007 my undergraduate degree while working full-time. Beginning in 2008, there was a time span of 10 to 12 years when I was actively went to the gym at least 3 times a week. He never joined me at the gym, never. I began my entrepreneurship journey in 2018 by investing in a real estate education and am currently pursuing the financial services. Now I'm in the financial services. And I've added that, let me mention, I'm a national mortgage loan officer now. I can serve people in all 50 states going through the process now. Woohoo! Okay. Wow. My purpose is to serve. My entrepreneurial goals are servant-based. At the time, it was residential assisted living facilities, real estate. Right now, it's the short and midterm rental, and helping people improve their financial position. Why I stayed married. I'm going to read this one. One may wonder why we are still married since we are complete opposites and unbalanced. Believe me, I've asked myself the same question several times. He loves me. I love him. He loves our children and adores our grandchildren. There is not an ounce of doubt regarding that. I'm grateful. He has always been willing to work and provide. And at times, he says hurtful things and does dumb and crazy stuff, which annoys me. I've learned to respond when responses are warranted and not react. I'm sure I annoy him. At times. We make it work. Here's what I say: walking in freedom. The joy of the Lord is my strength, according to Nehemiah 8:10. His strength is perfect when my strength is gone, for his strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:7-10. Philippians 4:6-7 tells us not to worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank him for all he has done. Then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can ever understand. His peace will guard your hearts and minds as you live in Christ Jesus. The enemy is after our peace and our purpose. He can't have it. I've decided he can't have it. He didn't give it to me, therefore he can't take it away. I have the power over Satan through my relationship with God. The Lord has given me the authority over anything that he attempts to do. It has taken years and years of growth for me to get to that point. The pain and discomfort experienced up to this point was part of my growth. I will not be distracted and will protect my peace and purpose by any means necessary. I may be the only Jesus. I may be the only Jesus reflection that my husband encounters. The goal is my reflecting and representing Jesus. Therefore, I grant forgiveness when it is not asked for. I love even in moments I struggle to like. But you know what? Love never fails.
It doesn't. It doesn't. And I get it. You know, it reminds me of that cartoon, Pinky and the Brain. Somebody got to be the machine. My husband, he's a strong influence, but he kind of lets me handle stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, they call me the attorney of the family or the doctor of the family because I'm the one that gets my hands dirty. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't be able to do that without a strong foundation. Again,
that's right.
You know, right. Goes to work every day. I don't have to worry about that. You know, paycheck coming in, groceries. We went out to Home Goods, and he just let me go nuts. And I said, what? He said, well, you was about to do. Girl, I got goose pimples. I just went in there and just got all new pretty stuff. I was like, what? He just, that's wonderful. But when it comes to, again, being that strong foundation, he's the one that you turn to. He's your rock.
That's right.
He's going to be there. He may not want to do the mundane, you know, mechanics of this or talk to the insurance company or talk to the mortgage company. We had some construction people out here. I was the foreman, honey, because I was out there doing all of this kind of stuff.
That's me.
Exactly. And what my husband do? Sign the check. So everybody's got their roles, and roles are a lot different now. But even with our roles as parenting, you and I were talking about the gap that there is with children and leading them to spirituality or leading them to Christ or a religious doctrine, or however people want to direct their children. But know that there is a be all end all, and it ain't us.
That's right.
And it's not how you die, it's how you live.
That's right.
And to be thankful and to be grateful for every little thing, even your trials and tribulations, those are learning opportunities. Mm-hmm. And not to be influenced by the new shiny object and all the trickery in the world, because, girl, there is some buffoonery going on.
Yes, it is.
But if we stay on the straight and narrow and also introduce our children, at least make the introduction. You know, that is our responsibility. My daughter does not, you don't put a morsel in your mouth till you pray over it. You pray over the sacrifice, the delivery, the cook, all of that. The roof over your head. I was looking at some unhoused people the other day, living in squalor. I'm saying to myself, you know, how do they go to the restroom? They go. Restaurants don't want you in there. How do you know, wash your face and brush your teeth? How do you get a drink of water? How do you get something to eat? You don't have that. And I thank God for all that, because I can walk in there and get anything I want at any time.
That's right.
You have to share that with people. You can't be selfish. You know, I tell you, we're in some real tender times right now. You know how our mothers would always say, "You living in the last days."
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't think I was gonna live to see it, but I am living in the last days. COVID taught me a lot. What did COVID teach you in that time of silence?
Oh, I'm glad you coined it silence, because it was really silence for me. And right before COVID hit, was a layoff for me. I experienced exponential growth during that time because I had, yes,
I made a ton of money during COVID. Everybody wanted to be heard. I get you.
yeah, but mine was an internal growth because I got to spend time with Myrna. Nobody was pulling at Myrna. Myrna didn't have to go to a job where she had to oversee 18 people. Myrna didn't have to report to her manager. Myrna didn't have to get in her car and drive to a job that she wasn't necessarily fond of.
Right.
I had time to spend with Myrna. And that's when this anthology was written, during COVID. That's when this was written. And COVID taught me not to take things for granted. Take
Oh,
nothing, take nothing for granted, take no one for granted. And as we stated, God is sovereign. He knows all. And do not um undermine that. Don't undermine that. Um, and just love never fails. Love never fails.
appreciated my home. Because I can tell you who knock on my door. Now, I'm a very public person, but when I am in the comfort of my home, it's me and Mr. Magnificent. I don't
Mhm.
want a whole bunch of people around, a whole bunch of stuff. And I appreciated the air so
Mhm.
much more because you didn't know who was contaminated.
Right. Yeah.
But there was um, a deep wisdom that surfaced. And I had my come to Jesus meeting that if I am unfortunately one of these people that is, incubated, because these folks were sick.
Yes, they were.
It was crazy. They was just, they didn't know what to do. They was just dying
Mhm.
in a matter of days, and so many people. And then the leadership, that's a whole nother show.
That's-
Uh, you know, and then the demands that were put on people too. If you
Mhm.
don't take this, there's some people that just didn't want to take it. What is the alternative? The school teachers. The school teachers didn't sign up to be mass monitors.
That's right.
They have their issues too. The nurses couldn't even get protective gear.
Mhm.
It taught me so much about humanity. And now that it's been 3 years, folks think that it's gone, but it's not gone.
That's right.
Just because you done got the jab. I heard the jab is causing complications. Who knows? I don't know. That's
I
my
don't either.
disclaimer for you
Mhm.
YouTubers that's watching. I don't know. Okay. But what we need to do is we really need to dial back, be grateful, be thankful, get Myrna's book, contact her for some Airbnb location. Now, are you doing it just in North Carolina, or do you have access to other locations?
I'm just in North Carolina, but I do know people. I have contacts that have them in other states, so I'm happy to refer them if they are in other states outside of North Carolina.
Now, that's what I've never done. I've never done an Airbnb, and I've never been in an Uber.
I've never been in an Uber either.
I've never been in an Uber. My husband goes, "Well, you used to trust a taxi driver." I said, "I don't know." He said, "But you can see this person's picture and all that kind." I said, "That don't mean nothing." I
Mhm.
just don't
Mhm.
feel comfortable. I'll rent a car. But there's
Mhm.
different, the world is changing. So as the
Yes.
world evolves and changing, what are some of the things still yet on your life list that you want to explore and you want to do?
I want to travel more. My husband's retired. He is now retired. I want to go outside of the US now. I've been to Germany, but I want to go to other countries. Um, I do like the Caribbean. I'm very partial to the Caribbean.
It's fun. Well, but
Yeah,
I'll tell you, Europe is amazing. Europe is amazing. And we just booked a trip to Thailand.
nice.
Yeah. So, but it makes you a different person
Mm-hmm.
because you see extreme opulence,
Mm-hmm.
beauty. Vi was just gold everything. I didn't think there was that much gold in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the across the street, you see poverty, where
Mm-hmm.
people are, standing in mounds of trash trying to find some trash to sell to somebody for something. So
Mm-hmm.
it makes you a different person. It makes you humble. We have to be careful anywhere that we travel in the world. There's a big upheaval
Yes.
that's going on. You got to be careful. But again, you got to be careful going to the grocery store because
That's right.
somebody will shoot you in the Walmart.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
But there's joy on the other side. There's beautiful things. So I'm going to ask you some fun questions in closing because I
Okay.
love to ask these questions of my guests. If you were an appliance in the kitchen, Myrna Love, what appliance would you be?
The refrigerator.
Me too. Why would you be the refrigerator?
Because I get open and I'm closed.
Really? I just want to chill. I just want to keep it fresh. I want to chill or freeze you out. One or the other. If you were a flower in the garden, what flower would you choose to be?
A rose.
Why?
A rose. Because the beauty, I would be expressing beauty to them. And I come in different colors.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you got the thorns to keep the bad people away.
And I got the thorns. I can get you.
Exactly. I think I'd be a tulip.
Okay.
Because when the tulips bloom, they just wild. They just go anywhere and everywhere. I love all of that. If you were an animal, what animal would you be and why?
I think I would be a lion.
Ooh,
I think I would be a lion. Because a lion is unstoppable. So a lioness, how about that? A lioness. Just brave, bold,
yeah.
dominating.
Are you a bit of a predator?
I wouldn't consider myself a predator.
No. Yes. Girl, I ask this woman, I ask these questions all the time because it gives a little bit of an insight to what people think about themselves. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So she asked me, I told her I'd be an elephant. And she said, why? I said, because they're big, they're strong, they eat very well, they travel in packs, they're good parents, they never forget, and they can crush you if they had to. So she told me she'd be a snake.
Okay.
And I said, well, really? I said, tell me why. She said, because I like to go in low. I know when to strike. I can grab my prey and digest it. And then I shed. And I hired her. Because sometimes you need a snake. I didn't want to be a snake. But knowing that insight, and this is what she thought of herself, not what other people thought of her, but what she thought of
Mm-hmm.
herself.
Mm-hmm.
That was great. So it's interesting to kind of ask way out questions, but this is what people think about themselves spontaneously.
Mm-hmm.
In closing, what do you want your legacy to be, Myrna Love?
I want my legacy to be, if I were to leave here, I would want people to know that their success is within them. So my legacy would be to empower. I want people to be empowered, and they have to find it within themselves. It's not a material legacy. That's for my family. What I would want to be, my legacy would empowerment. One word, empowerment.
Well, that's a big $25 word, and again, empowerment comes from inward.
That's right.
You can give them the tools, you can give them the options, but like you said in the beginning of the interview, you can't make nobody do nothing.
That's right.
You got to show up, you got to do the work, you got to have integrity, you got to smell like a rose, you got to be as cool as a refrigerator. You got to have integrity, and you got to know how to run a household. All of
That's
those
right.
things and then some. And that's what Myrna Love does. Please tell my brains how to get in contact with you if they're looking for Airbnb, they want a copy of the book, if they want some insurance products or some education on that. How do they reach out and touch you?
Brains, the best way to reach out and touch me is via social media. Like like you, like everyone else, our devices are always close by. So if I hear a ding, I will look. So on social media, you can contact me on my personal page at Myrna Love. On my fan page, I call my fan page Intentional Living with Myrna. On Instagram, Myrna Love. And on for Airbnb, I have a Legacy Property Solutions Instagram and Facebook page as well.
We are going to put the main contact at the end of the interview. And do you have like Linktree?
I don't.
Okay. We'll put the other information in the show notes because I definitely want them to contact you. Brains, go in, take a look at your risk. That's what insurance is. It is to offset risk. Okay. That's what they do. Go in, look at it. Um, some people say, well, when I'm dead, I don't care. But you've worked your whole entire life, care. And folks is gonna fight over the refrigerator, over the TV. It's gonna be a hot mess. So why don't you go ahead and streamline that? Make it easy. Make the investment now while you can. Put your living, will, and trust, all your documents in order, and any extra money that you have, go on a great vacation. All right.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much for being here on the Edge. Brains, I need you to go and do something for me. Pretty please. I need you to go in and love, like, share, and subscribe. Love, like, share, and subscribe. And leave a comment. Good, bad, or indifferent. This is how we grow. Okay? I'm not thin skinned. Okay? I got skin like an alligator. Or maybe an elephant. But whatever it is, I want it to be right. I want it to be right for you, and I want to give you what you need because I care about you. I love you. Thank you so much, Myrna. You are the best.
Thank you, and you are as well.
All right. Bye, brains. Have a good day.
God bless.